It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows, Find Your Own Voice, Led from Within. With me today is Rachel J. Rachel J. Um, please, what do you think about this topic, struggling with doubts and trust the process even if it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, I mean, doubt is something that I personally have had to really work on. That self doubt, certainly when it comes to things that are going on in your life and, which direction you need to take and what choices, is it going to work out okay? It's, I mean, if self doubt really grabs hold of you, I would call it that unseen kind of worst enemy, really, because it will just stop us in our tracks. We're on forward momentum, and then suddenly if that grabs hold of us, it's just like we hesitate. And if we just like hesitate for that little bit too long, then self-doubt can just paralyze us. And then it's quite defeating, because it just like stops us from taking that action, and then that you can feel quite demoralized, I think, from it. And a lot of the time, what I would say for myself, I don't know about you, but self-doubt will creep in when we have a lack of confidence, or that we're feeling incapable of doing certain things that we feel that we need to do. And because of that uncertainty about things, it makes us feel like we don't have control, and it then has us worrying that, nothing is going to go according to plan. And where does it originate from? I think there are many reasons why we suffer from self-doubt. It can be our past experience and mistakes. It can be our childhood upbringing. It can be that we're comparing ourselves to others who maybe have been through a similar process. It can be because we're facing something new. It's a new challenge in our life. Or it can be just down to, the fear of failure or the fear of success even. I think we're going to talk today about how we can kind of overcome that self-doubt, and really that trusting the process is really a part of that, right? You're on silent.
Just to everyone, I have no idea why my camera is showing like this. So I just decided I'm just gonna go live because I have no idea. Everything seems to be working fine. Yeah, so I agree with you, Rachel, when you say struggling with self-doubt is something that is unseen. Is you don't you, when you don't have confidence, everything you do, you'll be doubting yourself. Like right now, we are preparing for the sermon. It has been very, very challenging, and I would say, and but because we have confidence in what we are doing and why we are doing what we are doing, we have had to work as a team. I was laughing at this girl. I don't know whether it's a man or is a girl that is doing the designing, because I've not met her. So I was laughing at her. I'm calling her. I was laughing at her and saying, "You have patience," because she's like, we're doing something and she's there. She's there online waiting for me to finish the process. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do this work. Your work sounds really hard work, but because she has confidence in what she does, and also you have confidence in what you do. That's why we've been able to finish the even though it's few days left. But what I'm happy about is we've been able to finish. But if we were doubting ourselves and we were doubting the process, it would have been, are we this? Are we gonna do this? Are we really sure? But no one has been able to say negative things. So if someone is watching and they're really struggling with their confidence and they're doubting the things, and doubt can bring fear as well, because the feelings of fear, if you don't know where you're going and you don't know whether the things that you're doing they're gonna work out fine. But the good thing about taking chances and making choices in life and making decisions and making sure that we fulfill our goals is you trust the process. You don't know the outcome as the leader, you don't know the outcome, but you are just trusting that things are just gonna work out fine. So if anyone is watching right now, Rachel, and they are like, you know what, I need to do something, or maybe relationship, or they want to start their business and they're struggling with the process and they don't know, struggling to actually make that decision, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think first and foremost, they need to notice that they're having a negative chatter that is beginning, that is getting them to have that self-doubt. So they've got to realize that they're having doubt first and foremost. And then when they recognize that, is to say, like, you know, kind of like stop, literally just interfere with the process that's going on and tell yourself, right, stop. And then really, you know, it's bringing yourself back into the present moment and then refocusing yourself to something positive that is happening, to do with that process, you know, because what you find is that the longer that we stay actually stuck in a situation or in that emotion, then the harder it is actually for people to come out of it. So really taking that time to relax and to shift your focus to something totally different. I mean, it doesn't even have to be related to the process. That will help you actually calm the mind and to help you to look at things from a new and fresh perspective when you come back to that thing, whatever it is that you are busy with. You know, everybody who struggles with self-doubt struggles with it in their own unique way. It's not something that is, it's a common feeling that we can all experience, but how we experience it and why we experience it can be very unique to us. And it's very, you know, it's individual. So like I said, you know, it can be rooted in our childhood, or it could be rooted in, I don't know, something that happened in your adulthood, such as, you know, an unexpected crisis, like, you know, you get a divorce and then self-doubt has started to kick in. So the factors that actually cause the self-doubt in the first place are not necessarily the ones that will continue to keep us in maintaining that self-doubt. So I think that's a good thing for people to recognize, that what causes it and what maintains it can be two very different things. So yeah, it's about getting yourself back into the present moment, refocusing, taking yourself out of it for a while and coming back so that you can have a new, fresh perspective. I think that's like just a basic first kind of step, I would say.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. And we're scared of pain. When someone has doubt, and if we make a decision, if there's something that is important that we need to do, we get scared of pain, instead of trusting the process. And because there's no explanation, there's no one that can tell you what's on the other side, there's no one that can tell you the outcome. So it's just, I think what is important, like what you're saying, is it's important to actually be aware of those feelings when they come, be aware of that doubt, and look back in your childhood, maybe like when you're saying about childhood attachment, and there must be something that happened back in your childhood that is making you behave the way you behave, and also is bringing that fear to you, because fear is self-doubt is fear. You are doubting the process, you are doubting the outcome, doubting whether this thing is going to work. For me, I have this problem that I do, whenever I'm doing something, I have to tell myself that I don't know the outcome. If I don't do the things that I want to do, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know the outcome that would have been. So I like to know. If the outcome is fail, I like to know. If the outcome is positive or negative. I like to know. So in order for me to know is to take action. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. My ex calls me, he says, Nomsa, you are annoying. He calls me that I'm annoying. He knows if I make a decision that I want to do something, you can't stop me. I have to do it. If I do it, if I don't succeed, I'm okay with it as well, but I have to try. He goes, Nomsa, you are annoying, get things done. And that's who I am. Because if I want to do something, like if the kids want to do something and I ask, and I was asking my youngest, Martin, and I'm like, they suggested that she needs to go take a music lesson. And now music lesson requires her to get extra lesson on Friday. They did it on their own. So now they tell me what the plan that they want to do. So I'm making that plan successful. We're asking questions. Plan who is going to take her that to those lessons, and they start morning. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, you do know that morning and doing this, like planning and saying, what if I'm not here, who is going to take care when you go for choir? And I'm like, we are talking about now. We don't know what's going to happen next week or week after next week. So he goes, okay, you win the fight. So I'm like, you do realize it's not about winning here, about fulfilling your child's goals and not winning it. And then he starts, what do you say? So he goes, yeah, women never stop. I was like, you do realize you're actually talking to Nomsa, not any other women. And he goes, okay. so then I'm like, you know, in life, even if you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, the reason I'm sharing this is people, when you are doing things today, they think about what's going to happen next year. They think about what's going to happen in 6 months' time. But for me, when I'm making a decision as a leader, I make a decision based on the future. Is this going to work? If I'm not going to take her, so I was explaining, I'm not going to take her if I'm not available. She can go by taxi and go and have her lesson one way, and then her sister is there as well. They finish together. They can come back together. But for now, if that one day comes where no one can take her, and that one day is going to be with a taxi, because the taxi company that we are used to, and we've been using for years for the children. And I was like, they'll get in a good that we trust, and then they'll take her if that day comes. But for now, I'm not going to sit around and start fearing what if. So I'll be writing my destiny or my children's destiny off. So he was like, okay, I'm going to go. So
you
that's
brought
what
up
life,
you brought up an important point in that, you know, when we're moving through any process of any kind, we generally, as human beings, we want a guarantee that, well, what is the final outcome going to look like? Right?
Yes.
You know, we don't want to act unless we know that for sure that something is indeed going to actually work, and how and when is that going to work out. So we want this kind of confirmation before we actually go and put our energy, our time, and our effort into it. But when we do anything that is unfamiliar, you know, we've got to accept the fact that it's going to feel quite normal to have feelings of doubt, to have feelings of resistance, to feel discomfort. You know, that all of those feelings are going to start to creep in. And so we might then find ourselves actually saying, what if this doesn't work? You know, but when you then add the trust aspect into the equation, then what we're saying is to trust the process means that regardless of the fact that you don't know what the outcome is, you don't have a guarantee of what that is going to look like, but I'm going to consistently show up. I'm going to do what it is that I can do, and I'm going to stay committed through those challenges that I'm going to be facing, because, you know, if you go in thinking there's going to be no challenges at all, then you're really going to sort of end up having a big expectation hangover. And, you know, even when you're going to be committed through those challenges, even when it doesn't feel like it's not, that it's not working. You feel that, well, is there any point? Is this really worth it? It's really like taking its toll on you, because it doesn't seem as if you're getting what it is that you want. But trust is noticing and acknowledging those feelings and deciding to act in faith anyway. So
I love that, but you make me laugh. You make me laugh when you're having hangover expectations. Yeah, that's why we say it in gossip talk shows, there are no guarantees for joy. There's no guarantees. You just have to trust.
Yeah.
And the process, it means that you show up. You just have to show up and do whatever you have to do as a leader or as a mother. Do what you have to do as a father, or as there's so many people that want to take their life to the next level, but they want that guarantee. Like you say, you have a hangover guarantee. So they want that guarantee that is things are going to work. So I was talking to this guy in church, and he was like, can you give me some advice? When I'm looking for a woman, I want to know if they like me straight away or they don't. So I'm like, which world do you come from? Where does getting to know somebody fit in that, when you want to know now that you like me or you don't? So I was like you need to down. So I was giving him advice. I was like, you need, when you're meeting someone, it's like making friendship with someone. That friendship has to develop, and that person has to trust you. They need to know whether can they connect with you. There's so many things that they need to check before they can say, yes, we can go exclusive. So it was like, I don't have passion, want to know. So I was like, you're just gonna have to calm down, I'm afraid, how the real world works. Well, it is, you meet me and I get to know you, and you get to know me. I get to ask you questions, get to ask me questions. So so many people who are missing out when it comes to life, because they don't want to take make decisions, don't know the outcome, like what that we are human beings that want with expectations of, tell me what's gonna happen tomorrow. And I was working to my friend once, and he said, like there's people that there's people that like prophecies, and we have Sangoma that you can go, like, is a fortune medium here in this country, called the medium here with future. And so as my friend was like, people like to know the future. I think if you can pretend to be a fortune teller and tell them what they want to hear, you'll make lots of money from them. So I was like, yeah, why would I want to know about my future? What's gonna happen tomorrow? You guided me about my future also. I'll be wondering. Now we're talking about it, like knowing the future is like wondering what's gonna happen tomorrow, and what if that future takes time. It's actually not good to expect to have these kind of expectations. But I think trusting the process, not knowing what's gonna happen tomorrow, and just going for what you want. For me, I think it is a good idea that when you make a decision, it just have the aware of who you are as a person and your values as well. And if the past, you need to look at your past and work on your past, you can work on your past, and just be open to the possibilities when it comes to life, and be willing to change. And that willingness of changing and trusting, I think, is something that is something that is amazing. Like when I look at my business, when I started my business, I had no clue where I was going. I was like doing things. I knew the journey where I was going. But when I made decisions, like if somebody comes to me and say, no, I'm gonna do this, I'll help you, or a coach says, I'll help you, I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna have to trust. or
Mm.
also I ask questions. I'm just gonna have to trust whether you're a good coach or not. And if I work with somebody and they're a good coach, or if I do something or go to an event, I just make decisions and just go without worrying about anything or worrying
Yeah.
about what's gonna happen tomorrow. I think is very, very important. So what do you think for somebody who is like, how do I trust? Like when it comes to money, like business, making a decision, how do I trust if it's not going to work?
Yeah, I mean, I think understanding that your mind is what wants to know everything, but it's your job as the individual to actually remind yourself that it's okay to not know exactly what and how something is going to happen. That you don't need to know all the pieces of the puzzle as you set out to do whatever this endeavor is that you're taking on. You know, it's the actual desire to know, to control, and to try to predict everything that is going to happen are the very things really that actually cause you to go and sort of drown under overwhelm and drown in, you know, the frustration and um, all those negative feelings that will arise because you're actually in a fight with your endeavor rather than, you know, just allowing the endeavor to grow naturally itself and you guiding it. um, and we forget then along the way when we're in that mode where we're fighting with it to actually enjoy it. And so, yeah, of course, we're not going to attract the best of things to us when we're in a state of negativity rather than positivity. So trusting the process really means accepting that, yes, there's going to be hard steps. And yes, some of the steps are going to feel like long and tiresome. And maybe some of them are even quite painful, you know, and frustrating. But when we can say to ourselves, I'm going to be committed to those steps regardless, you know, and I'm not going to fall victim to this situation. That's trusting the process. It's knowing that every step that you take of the process, you are going to be guided to the next one. You don't need to know it beforehand. It will show up as and when the right time. Um, and this is something that I've really become quite grateful to have this awareness, because, you know, I'm in the process of also having to make quite big decisions in my life about whether I stay in the Netherlands and going back to the UK, you know, and there are a lot of doubts that come up, but understanding that actually there is a healthiness to doubt, because I think I read a quote that it's self-doubt is the beginning of wisdom, because you then start to actually ask yourself questions. You actually, you know, take an interest and you are looking at all the scenarios. The problem is if we get that we just there's too many, or we just don't know which way to go. A lot of that is because we're not actually really connected to ourselves. We're not grounded. We're not listening to what our truth is. And we're not able to trust that the universe is going to provide for us. You know, if we've put an intention out into the world and said, you know, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want, please help me to get me to that. You don't know what that process is going to look like. So yes, it's about, you know, taking those each step with faith that the next step is going to be provided for you. So you know, I'm learning this myself right now. And you know, it's not easy, but I know that I'm no master of the universe. You know, that life is going to continue on its course, and it will unfold the way it wants to unfold, because it will unfold in its own perfect way. And if, as long as I'm prepared to just get on and go with that, I feel a lot better for it than me trying to fight for things to go the way I think they should go. But yeah, when you learn the lesson that that's not what life's all about, we're not here to control life, really. We're here to be a passenger on it. Then I think that makes it a lot easier. So Yeah. I mean, maybe something that pops up for people listening to this is, well, how do I know that I've got healthy doubt or unhealthy doubt, you know? So I would say that the first one is if self-doubt is always your first reaction to everything, that's unhealthy. If it shows up in more areas of your life, self-doubt, that's also unhealthy. If it is persistent and it's really difficult to be able to move your attention away from that self-doubt, that's also is going to be a sign of it being unhealthy. It's grabbed too much of you, shall I say. And do you often regret decisions that you make because of your self-doubt? So, you know, every decision you make, you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I really did the right thing and I regret it, etc., etc. And is your self-doubt impacting your relationships that you have in your life? And does it prevent you really from, well, just being able to focus on anything because it's constantly making you distracted? I would say that those are signs that your self-doubt has kind of got out of hand, because like I said, self-doubt in the beginning stages is healthy because it's getting you to just look at the choices that you have. It's getting you to ask questions and to really dig into what is true for me. What is it that I need? And following that rather than maybe somebody else's opinion who's trying to advise you that you need to do something X, Y, Z, and you do it, but it's not really what you wanted to do. So it's good that you question. Otherwise, you just would be going out there and doing things confidently and then falling flat in your face because, yeah, it doesn't quite work out. So.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Rachel, when you say sometimes we want to control life. We want to, we need to learn that we are the passenger in the universe. And you know what? We can't, there are some things that we can control. We can set the alarm maybe and say, I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock. There are times where I set the alarm and say, I'm going to get up at 4. Or sometimes I end up getting up at 4:30 because maybe in the night I have bad night or I don't sleep well. Then I'll end up having to change the alarm or something happens. So we don't really have control. We have control of making decisions. That one, we can make decisions, we can make plans, and then when those decisions, the outcome is not met, do we need to be disappointed? Yes, we can be disappointed. I used to be like disappointed when things don't go my way. But then I'm realizing now that if things don't go my way when it comes to life, there is a lesson. What lesson am I learning? Have I learned in that process? And once I tell myself what lessons have I learned in that process, and then you realize that actually we are learning to take things, to take action. I went to Shanda's event 2 weeks ago and saying, do not, because stated that maybe we need to rearrange the date of the summit, and she was like, do rearrange things. She was like, once you rearrange something, it becomes that whole year, it becomes rearranging. It's like she did it herself, and it just became like rearranging things. It's not good. Just do what you got to do as a person. So I was thinking yesterday, I was like, this summit is a long journey of learning. Next time, if we have to do it, we know now what we are doing. But before, we didn't know what we were doing. But now, if we have to do it again, we do know what we are doing. For the next time, it's just gonna be better. So it's just trusting the process and learning through it as well. And I've learned so much when we're arranging this. There's so many things that I've been learning, and I think it is amazing. Whatever happens, whatever the outcome may be, it's the knowledge that I'm going to hold on to, that I've learned doing this. Because if we didn't do it, we would not have learned some of the things that I have learned. And I think that is part of life. And knowing that making a decision, like taking action. When you take action in life, you're following the steps, but some people
Yeah.
don't want to follow the steps by steps that you have to follow when you're taking action. They are like, tell me what's gonna happen, then I will do this. And I'm like, I cannot tell you what's gonna happen because I am not a God. For me, when I'm praying to God, it's like, God, show me what I can do, not the process, that what the outcome. There is no way that God or the universe can show you this is the outcome. The universe will open the opportunity. Even if you manifest or you pray, God will show you the opportunities. They will bring the opportunities to you. Then it's up to you to know your purpose, to know the things that you can do. And some people, when they make a decision, they quit. They like to quit. But for me,
Yeah.
quitting is not an option. I
No, it's
like
all
to do
about.
things.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, you go, you go.
No, I was going to say it is all about attitude. It's what you're saying. It is about attitude, and that, you know, if you value the results more than you do the process itself, then what tends to happen is you will experience more emotional highs and lows. And so, you know, you're allowing every bump that is in the road to really control you and how you feel about the efforts that you're putting into the process. And so really it's just going to end up being a really bumpy ride. So when you start to actually trust that process, then you will stop allowing those results to actually validate your feelings. And that's really quite important for people to understand, I think, because when we just attach ourselves to that specific outcome and things begin to not go according to plan, then what happens? We start to feel anxiety, and anxiety will block your insights. It will block your inspiration. It will block solutions to come into your awareness. It will stop you from learning the lessons. And so, yeah, it's really important that you need to become your own best guide so that you can, you know, in the trusting of that process. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. Anyway, Rachel, if anyone is watching right now and they want to know who is Rachel J and how I can get Rachel J, how I can contact Rachel J, and also if you have anything that you like clients to sign up for, please can you, the audience, could you please tell the audience who you are and where they can find, and if you have anything exciting going on.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have the summit on Saturday, by the way. So anyone who is watching, we have a summit on Saturday. We're gonna be here at Tinkosi Talk Shows all day. We have speakers that are gonna be giving you so amazing things, how they found that breakthrough framework through heartbreak. So go on, Rachel.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm a speaker and a teacher and a self-growth coach, and I talk on really my personal self-transformation journey experiences, which have been from self-rejection to self-acceptance and self-love, and that has really been this richness of learning and healing. And it was so much so that I was actually called and inspired to want to empower other women to also experience living authentically from their heart and to choose a life that is of love and healing and compassion, and to really help them to activate their innate power within so that they too can really start to manifest an abundance of joyful living, rather than living in, you know, stress all the time, which I think, you know, our world puts a lot of stress on us. So learning to come back into ourselves can really be helpful. Yeah, I work with really open-minded, creative, spiritual women who have been through any form of painful life transition or are going through one. It can be like the ending of a relationship, and who really are ready to transform their pain into personal power and to become more confident, more connected with themselves, and really create that happier, more purposeful life that they will actually, you know, fall in love with. So yeah, what am I currently offering? I'm offering a limiting beliefs 1 hour session over Zoom for people if they want to jump on. It's currently free. And yeah, it can take them through a powerful process for them to identify something that is maybe, holding them back, that they're unaware of, that they're, a limiting belief that they hold within them that is preventing them from being able to move forward. And I currently, because I turned 50 last month in September, that I've got currently 2 of my
How come
coaching
you
programs.
kept your birthday secret?
Well,
You kept your
but
birthday secret, girl. That's so not fair.
to celebrate that, then I've actually got 2 of my coaching programs, the 4-month and the 9-month program of self-healing and acceptance path programs. They've knocked them by 50%. So if you're on the edge thinking, do I want coaching? Do I want someone to help me to really, help me have a better relationship with myself so that I can have a better relationship with the world, with other people, and with whatever it is that you do for a living, then get in contact and take the advantage of 50% off.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rachel. But no, thank you for hiding your birthday. I went to 50th birthday, Dr. Biget's birthday on Saturday. It was really nice. It was my first time to have a birthday on Zoom. So it was really nice and amazing. So happy birthday. And anyone who is watching, guys, please get in touch with Rachel and join us on Saturday to Gossip Talk Shows. We have a summit here. We're just going to be here and sharing. The speakers will be, and the coaches will be sharing. They'll be sharing how they've been able to find that breakthrough framework and live life that they want whenever they want. So that's that. And if you want to get in touch as well with us at Ngozi Talk Shows and connect with other coaches and work, we have all coaches from all walks of life. And Ngozi Talk Shows is where we talk about all problems. We talk about daily problems in life, how a business, it could be personal, anything. We talk about it. So just join us and connect with the coaches. These coaches, they are amazing. So topic and trusting the process. We have to trust the process. And what would you do? Tell someone, Rachel, that is watching right now, and they're like, but how can I trust if I don't know the outcome? And what kind of step can I take? What if the steps are taking long? And some steps, sometimes when people are making decisions, they can feel that the decisions are or it's not worth it. What advice would you give someone who feels that way? That becomes a habit as well, actually, when you look at things and you think things are pointless or there's no point, and you end up missing opportunities as well. So what advice can you give anyone who has that limiting beliefs?
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to decision making, we truly need to stop second guessing. When we make a decision, be that a good decision or a bad decision, quote unquote, we affect change. And I think that big decisions become scary because we feel and are actually responsible for the change that we are going to affect. So learning to really first make a decision and then to make the decision right is a really good way to actually let go of the self-doubt that is paralyzing you, because we will never know where our decisions are going to lead us, because we can't know before making them what the consequences might be. It's only after making the decision that we can then deal with whatever comes next. We can never do it before. So hold that thought. And yeah, it is about learning how to trust yourself first and foremost. When we make decisions, they can sometimes force us to grow in areas where basically we feel uncomfortable. So when you start to second guess yourself, it's usually because of that discomfort that you're feeling. And change just happens incrementally. And so even if you aren't seeing an obvious positive result, that doesn't actually mean that it isn't round the corner. It doesn't mean that it's not coming your way. You know, you've got to have a bit of patience, right? Another thing would be to choose a new thought, you know, stop entering into the idea of having made a wrong decision, because really there isn't any power in doing that. Instead, just know that the things that hold the belief that things are working out for you, for your good, and that you are learning and growing while you are basically trying to find your bearings along this journey. And I think also assess what it is that you're learning as you're going along, because, you know, if you ask yourself, if you've gone through one part of the journey and you're looking back and you're now at another stage and you're going to have to make a new decision, first look back and say to yourself, if I had to do it over again, what would I do differently? You know, and then congratulate yourself because, you know, you actually went ahead and did something. And now, because maybe you've learned something from it, you're going to actually encourage a new behavior in yourself to come out. So that will sort of empower you to be able to think, whatever decision I make now moving forward, whatever happens, I'm still growing and I'm still learning and I'm still educating myself and I'm becoming a better person because of it. So, you know, you can't really learn if you're not playing the game, right? So, yeah, it's like I said, you know, self-doubt is a way of actually helping you to begin building wisdom within yourself. And I think, you know, it's a traditional one. We always bring it up quite often in these chats, but it is getting uncomfortable. It is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, isn't it? You know, there is no easy way around it. It doesn't matter. You can try and skip it. You can try and do another process. You can try and reinvent something, but a process is a process, and all processes will at some point deliver something to you that you got to deal with that feels uncomfortable. You know, who hasn't been through something and said, well, I just sailed through it, it was a breeze. It might have happened, but you don't hear that often. So I think it's coming to that acceptance. It's just have the courage, take the step, do something is better than doing nothing.
Doing something is better than doing nothing. I love that. I love that. When you were talking about patience, when my daughter, she's doing home, she has this thing where she's just gonna stop looking at me and winding me up, and I'm like, do your homework. And she goes, haven't you had something called patience, mommy? Be patient. I will do it when I'm ready. It's winding me up, and then I just have to leave the scene and then come back, and then she'll be doing it by herself. Yeah, I agree with you. And sometimes we have to have courage to do things. This is what my grandmother used to teach me, and my father, and my dad, and my mom. I think I was very lucky growing as a child. My dad, he was a very coming from a wealthy family. And my dad was a teacher. Granddad was wealthy, but my dad was a teacher. He educated all his children. But there was one thing that they used to tell me. They used to be like, you as a person, you need that you are unique, and you need to have the courage to actually make decisions. And if you want to do something, don't look at your friends and compare what they are doing. And you have to know that you and your friends have different destinies. Create your own destiny. Have the courage to actually go for the things that you want. It didn't help them, because I ended up traveling for them telling me things. But I had that courage to actually do things for myself, and traveling at a very young age. I didn't have fear. If I travel and stay in the country, if I don't know anyone, I just make friends, create my own family, and get to know people, and just get to know the culture and all those things. And to me, that was something that was important. And I think it's important for somebody, if you want to do something, never doubt your decisions. Trust that you are capable of doing things, and trust to have the courage, like what I was saying, that have the courage to really take action. And whatever the process that might be, it's not a failure, it's a learning. Everything has a learning. If I can do the things with my business that I've done it and they were like going smooth, if you tell me, Nomsa, how do I don't have a clue how to tell you, because it was easy, and I didn't learn anything in that process. All I got was the positive results. I'm like, I've got it. But where there is struggle, I write everything down, the instructions. Where there's been struggle, I can tell you, if you come to me and say, Nomsa, teach me how to do this, teach me how to do it, I would teach you. I run my own program myself, because when I was starting my business, I asked all my social media, I ran them myself. And people actually used to laugh at me when I did, like, they would send a message, like these social media experts will send messages and say, that's not how you post like this. What they were showing me also, they were charging money, but it wasn't perfect. But what I did, like, okay, I admit that I don't know how to post on social media. I'm gonna hire somebody to teach me, to come and explain to me how to post on social media, what I need to do. And this girl, I paid her for explanation, to explain to me what kind of post do I need to post. And I asked her up my Instagram properly. I had already set up Instagram. I asked her to put keywords, and she did it. And she was like, this is how you post. Every year, if I feel like it, if I want an award, I just enter award with my social media, Instagram, and I get an award. So to me, it's something that I had to learn. People laughing, I had to learn how to post. I had to learn how to be authentic as well. And when I can ask someone now, how much do you charge on social? Tell me £800. So how long it takes me to actually set up everything on social media? It takes me 10 minutes for a post, and then I'll just post them. My content is already there prepared. But if I want to, it's less than 1 minute on Instagram, just post. And Facebook, everything is linked together. If I post on Instagram, on Facebook, because everything is linked together now, and Twitter now, everything is linked. When you post on Facebook, it goes to Twitter, it goes to Instagram. So which is good. So I've learned to link things together. And this girl, she just taught me that to link all your social media in one place and just do this. And I'm glad that sometimes when you admit that I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to have the courage to actually be the person that I want to be. Broadcasting as well, Rachel G. I didn't know anything about how, but I've learned how to do Facebook Live. I had to learn, and it was like doubting. I was like, I can do music, I can sing, I can go, but I'm not sure if I can actually sit there and explain to people. And also, I'm a Black woman. I'm gonna trust a Black. So those were the things that were in my head, and actually realize that people actually they see you, and yes, there are people that are negative, but you get people that support you to get to where they'll help you to get to me, as long as you're surrounded by the people, and those people are full for everything. And any words of encouragement, Rachel, before we leave?
No, I think we live in a world of instant gratification. We can put something on order on online, and it can be with us within 12 hours, sometimes 24 hours. So when it comes to we're trying to set something up, having that expectation that the results are going to be in by tomorrow, it's unrealistic. And when we think that the results that we want to see are not coming quick enough, and they're not fast enough, and they're going to bring in that self-doubt, with that comes that impatience. It's just check in with yourself and say to yourself, is that really truly realistic what I'm expecting now? Because for real valuable good stuff that you're going to feel in line with, that you want to go out and give out into the world, that comes with patience, that comes with nurturing, that comes with giving things time to evolve into whatever they're supposed to be evolving into. And if we don't give things time, then and we just choose to give up and to quit, then nothing would come out into the world, nothing would be created. So have the consistency, have the trust with yourself that what you want to bring into the world, whatever endeavor it is that you're working on, just know that most things in life, if you look out into nature, takes time. That the same applies for us. We've got to get out of this mentality that everything's got to be tomorrow. And when we do that, that's when we start to also start to look outside of us and hope that other people are going to guide us. We're hoping that someone else has got the answer for us, and then we start to listen to them more than we're listening to ourselves, and then we start to get off track, and that's just not good. It's like, just say to yourself, is this what I enjoy? Is this what I want to do? Am I committed to it? If it's yes, then stick to it and believe in yourself and move forward. But trust your inner guidance. That's what I say.
Thank you so much. And also know your purpose as well while you're on earth, while you are here on earth as well, is very, very important to what Rachel just said. And create goals and stick to them. Know your desires, what you desire in life. And your desires will require you to have the courage to communicate them, or have the courage to take action and commit, and know that you are unique as a person. And there are some people that don't have faith when it comes to life. They don't have faith. They just believe that I've gone through there, like I've been hurt before. I am not gonna enter no relation because men are the same. But if we put men or women are the same, but if we put these women in one room, you realize that they're different, and you realize that men are different. But it's just hard to find a good person. It's not easy. It requires you to search, and that it requires you to read books. It requires you to listen to audios. It requires you to do some research to get. It requires you to be the person that arrives early at work, that person that lives last at work, or it requires you to do research and show interest in your work and just be unique and be that person, succeed and be the changer in that company wants to change things, not mourn and complain. So those are the things that you need to do. Everything you do in life, you have to have traits for it. You have to have a vision for it, why you're doing what you do. And then anything else, trusting the process, whether you trust the universe, whether you trust it. If you come to my house, you'll find me screaming and telling God, you said you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Now I'm struggling. I was saying to God, every time I pray and I'm like sending messages to the speakers and don't respond to me, then someone will send me an email and respond to me. And that is the process. I just have to trust, and I just have to believe in the things that I'm doing, and then anything else will fall into place. So we are here at Ngozi Talk Show today, 1 p.m. UK time. And if you want to get in touch, you want to find your own voice and lead within, please get in touch with Ngozi Talk Shows. That's what we do for work. And for me to be where I am today, I have had to go through so many challenges in life. I had to fear my fear. I had to work on my fears. I had to work in so many things. Now I live my life and I'm teaching my children as well to live the life that they want and not being scared of taking chances and things like that. So, any final words you want to say? Do you have anything to say?
No, I think you've covered it well. Thanks, Nomsa. It's good.
Leave with us, everyone, and please, family, subscribe to our. Just press that button at the bottom that says subscribe. Then you won't miss anything from us.